Hello, my Facebook and YouTube followers. Welcome to Need to Trust a Friend, and I'm Cece, and we're here to chat. Tonight we got a special, I'm so excited. We're gonna have a debate. You know, through all these things that we're going through with the coronavirus and the election coming up, it seems like everybody is pulling one way and pulling another way, have a difference of opinion. And why? Why do we have a different opinion, especially within our own community? Well, you know, the Black community especially. Sometimes I talk about people of color, which that means everyone that's not white. But tonight we're talking about the Black community. Why is it so much division in our own community? We have Trump supporters and Obama Biden supporters, Democrat and Republican. But why we can't all just get along? Well, we're gonna find that out tonight, because I think the reason that we really can't get along is because we don't understand each other. We don't take time to talk about issues. Me personally, I could care less of if you're Democrat or Republican. I'm not going to say my choice of what I am, but I don't care what you are, as long as you're a law-abiding citizen. Now, I do disagree with certain politics, but within our own community, why we can't see eye to eye within our own community? That's the question. So we got tonight some African-American gentlemen, two people, one on one side, one on the other side, and we're coming together to try to understand each other, to discuss what's the difference and how do each other see different topics and why there is a big divide. I'm going to bring on my debaters for tonight, and what we're going to do, I want some of the live community to also, when you hear a comment that you want to speak out on, I won't put you on camera, but I do want to, you know, let your voice be heard too. So maybe one of our candidates could answer your question. So I'm gonna get them to come up. In the meantime, we're gonna have a good show. If you like this video, subscribe, click that notification bell, and definitely share it. It's going to be educational and exciting. Hello, guys.
Hey. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I told my audience we're ready to debate our issues. Like I told them, I don't know if you was able to hear me, but we are African American people in general. So the question is, even though we may see different things as far as politics, why we can't see eye to eye? Why is there a big divide on especially Black people, Black Republicans? You know, it seemed like, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seemed like the community is harder on Black Republicans. So that's why I brought you two here tonight, because I feel like maybe it's something that everyone else is missing, you know, and normally we don't get to talk to each other to find out why do the Republicans feel the way they do? Why do the Democrats feel the way they do? So tonight, the purpose of this is to sit here. I'm gonna give you the issues, and we got Russell Matthew Langham on the top right-hand side, and we got Herman Lee Jr. on the bottom right-hand side. And they're going to introduce themselves to you and tell you what party affiliation that they you know, favor, if they favor a party. They're going to tell you that. And we're going to start off by, I'm going to give a topic, and both of them going to have time to discuss their reasoning behind the topic. And like I said, you all out there in your homes, if you're watching this and you have a question, please please put it in the comments and I will read it to them and let them answer it. Okay, Russell, do you want to start first by making an introduction?
Sure. Again, as she noted, my name is Russell Langham, Sr. I'm a retired military person, 24 years. I retired out of the Coast Guard, started in the Army, retired out of the Coast Guard. So I had a really kind of crazy career bouncing back between organizations there. I kind of identify myself as an independent thinker, but I do favor moderate Democrats. And so I'll be, I guess, representing their viewpoint and asking questions and trying to figure out on the Trump side, you know, as far as thoughts, ideas, and, you know, how do you support a person with his nature, chaotic nature, as they say.
Okay. Mr. Lee?
Well, my name is Herman Lee Jr., and I'm actually, I've been married to my wife. My wife is Bobby Lee. I've been married 24 year. Me and her have a health and safety business that we having for 20 years. I have 4 daughters and a son. I mean, 3 daughters and a son. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. And I'm just here to discuss the issues about, I guess, around politics. I mean, I consider myself a Republican, but it's some things Republicans do I don't like, but I lean towards a lot of things, a lot of issues that they align with.
Okay. Okay. So you said you don't consider yourself a Republican, you just lean towards them, just like Russell said, he's not a Democrat, but he leans towards that, right?
Well, I mean, I guess the last few elections I've had maybe the last 2 or 3 elections I've actually did vote Republican. So I like a lot of their values, as far as a lot of values I align with, like the values of family. I don't believe in abortions. I mean, I don't believe in so a lot of the Republican values I believe in. I mean, I'm a Christian, so I believe in a lot of their values.
Okay. Okay, then. Well, we're going to start off. My first question for you all, and you know what? I'm just going to let y'all talk. I'm not going to time it right now. If it seems like one person is not getting enough time to get their point across, then I will time it to maybe 2 or 3 minutes a person. But I want everybody to relax because this show is a let's chat. So, you know, I want everybody to be comfortable and just don't talk over each other, but I want everybody to be comfortable and talk. So the first thing I'm going to ask, we're going to discuss the coronavirus out here. Okay, how do you feel? We're going to start with Russell first because he's on top. How do you feel about how the president handled the coronavirus? Was it effective? Could he have done better? How do you feel?
Well, me personally, I think it's been an abysmal failure. I think that he's failed on all levels of leadership, preparation, even as far as empathy, and even being a realist. You know, when we had the opportunity to get a hold of the coronavirus when it was in its initial phase, when it was just, you know, it just affected a few hundred people over in China. And during that time, we had a president that, you know, not only did he downplay it, he sort of just blew it off as a hoax. You know, he had a president before him, President Barack Obama, who left him a playbook, who had left him a structured, you know, I know with you being in the Marines, you know how it is. You know, you leave a guidebook, and that would tell you exactly, you know, how to react and how to, you know, how to do a playbook of sorts on how to handle different events, a pandemic or a war or anything else like that. And so we have ourselves a president that didn't do anything. What he did was he made up truths. He kind of came out with half lies, and even up to today, he's still, he's not giving the American people what they need as far as structured leadership. I'd like to go ahead and hear your response. I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to go ahead and give me a response, and then after that, I want to play something for you.
Well, why don't you play it first?
Huh?
You want to play it first?
Sure. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and take over the screen for a second, and what I want you to do is look at the timelines in which these things happen and when he said these things. So, in other words, what I'm saying is, in a time where he could have grasped the situation, came out with a couple of different ideas or resolution, or identified the problem, came out with some kind of resolutions, he's like flipping. He's like, hey, this is something that the Democrats thought of. This is a hoax. Not looking at the fact that this can't be something democratic if it's going globally. You know what I mean? If this is happening in China, this is happening in the UK, the Democrats doesn't come up with anything globally. You know what I mean? It's not a global hoax. But anyway, let me go ahead and play this for you. And I'm going to share my screen. And like I said, after that, we'll go ahead and discuss, how did he react, and the things that he did that I think that could have been done better. All right. Can you guys see that?
Well, I don't see nothing yet.
You don't see anything yet? All right. Do you see it?
No.
All right. Hold on a second. Technical difficulties. Do you have it now?
Yeah, I see it now.
You have been briefed by the CDC of the words about a pandemic at this point.
Can you cut the volume up?
We have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China, and we have it under control. It's going to be just fine.
Coronavirus, Disney's closed,
Yeah.
movie theaters are closed, hospitals being built. I think we're now up to our 8th case in the United States. How concerned are you?
Well, we pretty much shut it down coming in from China. And by the way, the virus, they're working hard. Looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. Oh, that's true. Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low. People die from the flu. And this is very unusual. And it is a little bit different, but in some ways it's easier, and in some ways it's a little bit tougher. But we have it so well under control. I mean, we really have done a very good job. I mean, view this the same as the flu. When somebody sneezes, I mean, I try and bail out as much as possible when they're sneezing. It's going to disappear one day. It's like a miracle. It will disappear. And from our shores, we, could get worse before it gets better. Could maybe go away. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows. Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. And this is their new hoax. I like the numbers being where they are. I didn't know people died from the flu. I like this stuff. My uncle is a great person. He was at MIT. He taught at MIT for, I think, like a record number of years. He was a great super genius. Dr. John Trump. I like this stuff. I really get it. I was surprised that I understood it. Every one of these doctors said, how do you know so much about this? Maybe I have a natural ability. Maybe I shouldn't have done that instead of running for president. Good job with it. It will go away if you stay calm. Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all. Yeah, I've been urgent. This is urgent from me right from the beginning.
Words about a pandemic at this point?
No.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. What I want to glean from those videos are, we have a leader there that, like I said, he's not taking responsibility on anything. And so as a Republican, how would you be able to, back him and give him a buy? Because like I said, he's saying things like, this is stuff that'll disappear within a month or so, or it's like I said, you're the leader of the greatest nation in the world. So you're the leader of the #1 superpower. Yet you're not even given a serious thought. You're saying that this is just a joke. This is something that's created by Democrats as a something political. So when you look at that, I know the original question on how did we handle, or how did the United States handle the virus? Do we think he could get a passing grade? And like I said, I'd say starting out, no. But I'd like to hear some of your thoughts before I, respond on some of the other things I've been thinking of.
Okay.
Well, I think first of all, I don't think he's really a politician. I mean, because I think a lot of things he think about, because he's a businessman. He think about business. It is unfortunate that over 100,000 people has actually died, and I don't know if he could actually done anything to actually change that, because he did shut the country down. For 3 months, and still, even with all the stuff that's happening in New York, they still having cases, but they've been shut down for 4 or 5 months. But how long can you actually shut down a country? How can your economy grow? How can your small businesses grow with the country actually being shut down? Are you going to stay in your house for the rest of your life? How can you live staying in your house? I think he was a little slow in reacting. Because he probably thought that it actually would go away. But I think in March when it shut down, like he sent a boat to New York. He sent them a lot of respirators. He put a lot of money into the coronavirus. I think there's a lot of things that Dr. Fauci said that I really don't believe, but I think that one thing about Donald Trump, he has advisors. A lot of times he don't use advisors. He just he pretty much does what he wanted to do, because he's not a politician, and he don't act like a politician. He don't compromise, and but I think we can't really do nothing from what happened now, but we could just go forward from today.
Okay, so not to cut you off, you finished with your thought there?
Yeah.
So I look at it this way. When you signed up for a job, none of us, of course, sign up for a job knowing everything about the job and knowing, we don't have all the experiences needed for a job. We sign up for the job and we continuously mature, we grow with the job. And we realize, of course, with him being the president, he has advisors. He has lots of scientists at his disposal. He also has one of the biggest things that we don't have, as the normal guys, and that's experience. That's experience coming from prior administrations. So the prior administration, they've handled H1N1, they handled the swine flu, they've handled other pandemics, and they left playbooks. They left playbooks and they left different structured scientists in place. So I don't know if you noticed or not, but he actually got rid of the scientists that we had in China, because he said that, they were doing nothing. It was one of the things that he was trying to trim the fat in the government. But that was also one of the things that, of course, one of the pieces of the government that you don't need until you need it. You know what I mean? So the teams that we had in place in China that were on the ground, that were ran by the CDC, the ones that he actually got rid of, he's actually put back in place now. He actually put them back in place because, like I said, he dismantled the programs that would have caught all of this in its infant stage. And so instead of us being behind the power curve as we are now, these are unprecedented times. So when we had these other pandemics that came out, Obama handled them appropriately. He put together test groups. He put together scientists. He put together the leading minds in their countries and had them test it and develop serums, antibodies, and he brought that to the United States. So therefore, we were able to minimize the issues that we had here. You didn't have to close everything down because him as a president, he had the forward thinking in order to go ahead and say, okay, I'm attacking this problem and I'm coming up with viable solutions, and it's effective. And that's what I think that we didn't have here. Of course.
Okay.
Well,
you know,
okay, I'm gonna give because we're gonna try to limit the show unless y'all got time, because we almost on 20 minutes. I'm gonna give Mr. Lee a chance to respond, and then I'm gonna read a couple of comments, and you could make a quick response for that, and then we'll move on to the next question. Okay, Mr. Lee.
Well, first, I think that there's never been, when you say they had pandemics, there's never been a pandemic in the world like this one. I mean, never. H1N1, swine flu, it never killed as many people and spread as quickly and never was as contagious as this thing. So, I mean, I don't think you could actually compare that to this, because this is, I mean, this is, I ain't never in my life seen nothing like this before. I mean, and I think this is probably 15, 20, 30, 40 times as worse as all the other stuff, swine flu, even the regular flu. I mean, this is more contagious than any of that. So I don't think because they ain't never seen nothing like that, they wasn't expecting nothing like this. I mean, and so I don't think even that what he actually put in place, I mean, I think to the magnitude that is affecting people and how contagious they are, I don't think that it actually would have made a difference, personally.
Okay, well, with that being said, I'm gonna read some of the comments. One is that we need a new party, I guess, rather than Democrats and Republicans, because, and I agree with that, because sometimes you may not be to the far right, you may not be to the far left. And another comment is, where are the rules about caring about humanity instead of caring about the economy? Another comment is, okay, why the U.S. is handling the pandemic, worse than any other country. Okay, so that's something to think about. We'll just leave that where it's at, and we'll go on to the next question. Both of y'all satisfied with those answers?
I am.
Okay, we may have to have a part 2 because it's getting interesting. It is a debate, right? Okay. And we'll save time to double back if you want to. Okay, at present, we had the Obama administration for 8 years, Trump for 4 years. Which administration did you think people of color fared better under, and why? You want me to repeat that question?
I heard you.
Okay.
I took the lead on the first one. You want to go ahead and start the second?
Yeah, I was gonna say we let Mr. Lee take it on this one.
Okay, I guess with the Obama administration, I think that it seemed like Obama caused the biggest actually deficit. I mean, he borrowed the most money, and he actually put the most people actually on welfare and unemployment. I mean, he actually closed a lot of the oil pipelines down, so put a lot of people out of job. I mean, but I mean, one thing he did do, I mean, that was good was he got everybody insurance. But I mean, just in the 4 years that Trump's been president, he actually put together the First Step Act, which is a prison reform act, which freed a lot of black people, a lot of violent offenders. I mean, non-violent offenders got out of jail. Before the pandemic, the black unemployment rate was the lowest that it's been. It's been probably at 5%.
Can I interrupt? Mr. Lee, if you got sources that you're referring from, can you repeat those sources, because we don't have any checker as in a regular debate. So could you repeat where you got those sources when you quote figures and things like that?
So you want me to give you the? You want me to give my cited reference? You want me to give my cited references where I got it from?
Just say where, yeah, general reference, because like I said, we're gonna come back and we're gonna have a fact checker check stuff. So just say like where you got that reference.
I actually got this from Fact Check.
Okay.
Fact check.
The ones that pick fact.
Okay, which one you got from Fact Check? Because we got Wise Guy here that could fact check stuff. So one of the points you made is that Black people had the lowest unemployment under Trump. The next thing you said is that Trump has a prison reform already in order, or he's talking about it.
Well, it's called the First Step Act, was signed in 2018.
Okay.
So,
and what do that prison reform? Could you elaborate on that? What is that saying?
Okay. It says that it actually let out a lot of people that was dealing crack cocaine. They was actually getting more time than people that was doing regular cocaine. So African Americans was disproportionately getting higher sentences. They was getting like crazy sentences, like 20 and 30 years. So what he did is he actually a lot of people he let out of jail, and he changed the sentencing requirements and the sentencing laws. So that's the First Step Act of 2018.
Okay.
And the unemployment rate, actually, this is from the Department of Labor Statistics. The unemployment rate in 2000, well, under Trump administration, for African Americans is under 5%. That's before the pandemic.
Okay.
And also the new unemployment claims recently hit a 49-year low, and that's actually before the pandemic also. He created 4 million jobs since he was elected. He actually he enacted the Veterans Unemployment recently, with a Veterans Act where you can actually, if the veterans don't have an appointment, you can actually go to an outside doctor. He actually signed that last year. He also took out the mandate. When you have Obamacare, it is a mandate. Like if you didn't have insurance, you had a penalty. So he actually took that out. Where if you didn't have insurance, you wouldn't have to pay a penalty. He also gave HBCUs. Let me see how much money it was. It was $250 million for STEM testing, and he gave, I think $50 million over the next 10 years. So he gave permanent funding for that. He created opportunity zones. Well, opportunity zones is actually where Black businesses can come in different areas and get tax breaks. And he actually, and I got a whole plate full of stuff, but I don't want to take up the time. But I mean, I think, and he actually got 3 million people off welfare. So I think that
he got them off welfare.
They came off welfare since he's been elected. They came off welfare, food stamps since he's been elected. So I think he's actually done more for the Black community than Obama.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lee. Okay, Mr. Langham, it's your turn.
Let me do a little course correction for you. a lot of the stuff that Trump is taking credit for, it's actually happened under the watch of Obama, and it was going down even as he turned over the economy and turned over everything over to Trump.
As in what?
So when you're talking about the unemployment for African Americans, the unemployment for African Americans was dropping anyway. It was going lower and lower per quarter anyway because of the gain led by the economy.
And let me ask you, where did you get your statistics from?
The statistics I'm using from the New York Times.
Okay.
So
okay, you can continue on.
All right. So when you're talking about him getting claiming credit for certain things, even when we're talking about the HBCUs, he didn't actually give a certain amount, a dollar amount for the HBCUs. That was Congress. Congress had already enacted the dollar amounts that they were proposing for the HBCUs, and he signed it into law. So he can't just claim credit for that by himself. I know he might not want to, I know he might want to claim and cut out the Democrats and what they were doing as far as Congress and what they were doing, but he has to work alongside the Democrats to get any kind of bill enacted into law.
Yeah, well, I mean, he have to sign the bills. I mean, Congress make the laws, and he signs them. I mean, he don't make laws. I mean, he signs them.
Well, they propose the budget and he signs it, but when it's kind of misleading when you say that, he kind of gave this and he kind of gave that, because he didn't work anything, he didn't really put anything together in that bill. It was Congress that put that as far as the HBCU funding, Congress is the one that actually put that in there, and they're the ones that proposed that, and he signed that into law. It was a bipartisan effort between the Republicans and Congress. Well,
that's Congress' job. Congress make laws, and he signed them, right? But
it's not your time to rebut yet. Let Russell finish.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now, when we start talking about, now I'll go back. Now I will give him the First Step Act. The first step was a course correction. That was a course correction for when Bill Clinton had put in the 3 strikes law. And yes, blacks, African Americans were disproportionately affected by you could have an ounce of crack and get millions of years more than you have a kilo of cocaine. So yeah, you're right there. That was a course correction, and that one I give him for that. But when it starts going under Black people and African Americans and how they were treated or protected, I would have to give that back to Obama. Let's look at federal abuses. Let's look at how we were disproportionately affected under the Consumer Protection Agency and the Consumer Protection Act. Those are some of the things that Obama created that put some type of cushion in place so that the substandard, the mortgage effort that was put in place, by irreputable consumer lending. So, the subprime lenders, he put that into place so that, it wouldn't affect us as much. In other words, he put an agency, he created an agency specifically created to protect the lower income and, African Americans that were more than generally first-time home buyers and people that were, that weren't able to get loans, unlike their white counterparts.
Okay.
So you have that. Then you got to look at the healthcare. You're talking about what Obama did as far as getting insurance for everybody, but then you got to look at what Trump did. Trump tried to dismantle Obamacare. He tried to totally destroy it. And what did he put in place? He actually put nothing in place. He took millions of people off of the rolls as far as having insurance, but he hasn't come up with a solution as far as, okay, even though I'm taking you guys off of this, I will put this in place in order to, protect you. Or those that need coverage, I will make sure that you're covered under this law. He hadn't done that. The only thing he did was he dismantled Obamacare, and that was it. So that the people that are not covered now, they're just not covered. Would you agree?
Well, I think some people don't want insurance. Some people don't want it. I mean, so why are you going to force somebody to have something that they don't want?
Well, Some people might not want it, but that's not the issue. What I'm looking at, is for the people that want it, for the people that have pre-existing conditions, for the people that benefited from Obamacare, for the people that benefited, he totally dismantled the program so that now, even if you wanted to benefit from it, you can't.
Well,
he hasn't put anything in place in order to, a safety net, as they say. So there's no safety net to catch the people that were now uncovered or uninsured.
Well, who actually was going to pay for that? Because when you have somebody have pre-existing conditions, they can get bills that can go up to thousands and millions of dollars. I mean, somebody got to pay for that. Who's going to pay for that?
Well, there was already subsidies put into place by the government so that the program paid for itself. If you remember that the money or that the penalties that they put in place, that actually helped pay for the program. And also the monies that when the breaks that they got as far as from the medical insurances and stuff like that, that also helped pay for the program. If you remember, not $1 was granted for this program, from what was other than subsidies. It was a subsidized program. It paid for itself.
Well, when you say subsidies, that means that taxpayers got to pay for it, right? I mean, somebody got to pay for it.
In some way, shape, or form, taxpayers are paying for everything. There's no program out there that taxpayers aren't paying for.
Well, it just it put a burden on. It put a heavy burden, just like it put a burden on taxpayers. I mean, because how you going to give me something that I don't want? I mean, if I don't want insurance, if I get sick, I just pay for out my pocket. But
well, it sort of let's put it in the context. Do you know that when they first initially introduced Social Security, that people said they didn't want that, and that hey, that's something that it was being forced upon them, and they had to pay out of pocket for this, and they weren't going to use it until they were like 60 something, and that they didn't want it. Now, some odd years later, that's one of the biggest benefits of paying for, of course, paying into Social Security, that you have a guaranteed source of income when you get older. Yeah. So sometimes the government does stuff in our best interest that we might not know of. We might not know of what it's going to do for us right now, but on down the line, you'll see that it's in your best interest.
Okay, we're going to stop this question right here and go to our fact checker. Our fact checker said he agreed with you about the one-step account, the prison reform. Mm-hmm. But he got a source from the Washington Post that says prosecutors argue that hundreds of incarcerated people applying for relief under this program are not eligible. So that's what he said to say on that. Then we have someone that says they don't want to pay $800 for life-saving medicines. We have another person that says we have monies for all this militarization, but it's always talk of where's the money come from when we talk about social problems. People don't want to wear masks, and we see that going on. Okay, so we'll end it with that. The next question we have is we're going to discuss black on black crime. Now, I'm going to start, Mr. Lang, I'm going to start with this first. But we're talking about black on black crime. Now, I know Mr. Lee has said that he feels like 95%, and correct me, Mr. Lee, 95% of the crime is committed by African Americans.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, what did you say?
No, after you finish, I'll tell you what I said.
No, you tell me now because I can phrase the question.
Well, what I said was, I was talking about murders, and I said that 53% of murders are committed by black males. I didn't say, but I don't know where you get that 95%. I was saying 50% of murders are committed by blacks, but what I'm saying is 90% of them are committed by, when they kill other people, they're committed by other black people. So
90. Okay, 90%. What you say? 90. Okay, is it 53 or 90? Can you clarify?
Well, when black people get killed, 93% of the time it's other black people that kill them.
Okay. Okay. But out of the total population, you're saying that it's 53% that commits the crime.
Yes. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay. So my question is do you buy into black on black crime? Is black on black crime real? And what do you think? What do you think that goes into black on black crime? Do y'all want me to repeat that again? Like, is black on black crime real? Because some people say that it's a known fact that we're Black African Americans is 13% of the American population. That's a fact. So the argument is that it's no way that we commit that crime because it's not enough of us. So is those statistics based on the whole population or not? So do you think it's a real thing, black on black crime?
So,
or not? So I'm gonna let Mr. Williams.
So it's actually statistically impossible for black people to do that much killing on our own, because you got to look at it. We're 13%. It's almost like being in jail. You know, you look at the jail population as it is right now, and we as in African Americans, we are overwhelmingly represented in jail. Correct? We make up the majority of the people in jail. And the reason why is because the laws have systemically put black people in jail, gave us harsher sentences. They've did everything they could do to tie us up. Once we get, a charge, let's say, whether it be a misdemeanor or a felony, it's automatically, we lose benefits. Like, say, for instance, you get a drug charge. You can't even get a federal student loan. So that automatically takes you out of the mix for educational programs, any kind of student trade programs. You know what I mean? As far as you learning a trade or any of us or our kids learning trades or get enough education to get us out of the systemic welfare, as you talked about. And, so when you look at your numbers, that's why I say I think the numbers are skewed a little bit. We can't be 13% of the population yet commit 50% of the crimes. We just don't have that many people.
Okay, Mr. Lee.
Well, I think black on black crime is real, and I think most of the time when we burglarize, it's usually by a black person. I mean, but if you want to, I ain't gonna argue about the numbers, but the point I was trying to make is that when I grew up in the hood, it wasn't white people coming taking my rims or coming stealing. It was the people down the street. It was the bros down the street. And
well, I'll just say that when you look at the crime statistics, and it'll state on the FBI website, it'll state on the National Crime and Justice website, it'll state that there are crimes of opportunity. So 9 times out of 10, if you're in a ghetto, let's say in a ghetto, in a poor housing network neighborhood or something like that.
We'll say the hood.
Go ahead.
Okay, we'll say the hood. We'll use the hood, not the ghetto.
The hood. If you're in the hood, that means that more than likely you're going to be burglarized. You're going to have a crime, vested upon you by someone that's in the hood. So if you're in a, due to natural segregation, if we're in a hood when everybody's black, then 9 times out of 10, the person that's going to be burglarizing us that's in the hood is going to be black. So, like, and I still say that your numbers are skewed also because you don't have white on white crime. Do you have Mexican on Mexican crime?
Yeah, you do. Most people when I'm talking about murders, most people that murder each other by their own race, like white white murders most of the time is murdered by white people, and Mexicans the same way. And murders, most of the people that murder each other are by the same race.
So if
the whole point that I was trying to make is black on black crime is a big deal in our neighborhood, and we're focusing on other stuff, but that's a big deal.
well, I look at it as hold on a second.
Okay, while he's holding on, let me ask this, and the only reason I'm butting it here because I know I'm supposed to be neutral, but you know, Mr. Lee, me and you had to talk about this. Okay, you say that the person that robbed you when you lived in the hood growing up was a black person. Okay, that's because, like I said, you know, that's who you lived around. So when you say it's white on white crime too, or you said, correct me if I'm wrong, you said most of the time white crimes is not committed by a white person. Is that what you said?
No, I said murders. Most murders that white
it's not committed by a white person.
They are. That most people that kill each other are of the same race. Now, when white.
Okay, so let's stick with that fact. Okay. So being with that, tell me the statistics on the white on white crime.
Well, I mean, I don't have that statistic because that ain't one of the things that we was coming up with. But what I'm saying is most of the crimes that are committed, I just know about murders. Most of the murders with white people are by other white people.
So
okay, we know that. But we also say if you say black people are by black people, what makes the black crime rate so high on black rather than the white crime rate, which is we all agree that if you got 13% of the black population and you have the other, let me do the math in my head, what is 77% white? Okay, wouldn't it be logically that their rate should be higher? It's just like, okay, it's just like you have a test in school, right? If I give you're in the school supplies and school teaching, if I give you a test with 3 questions and you miss one, do you think you will fail that test?
Yeah, you'll fail it.
Okay, but if I give you a test with 80 questions and you miss one, you wouldn't fail it, right? So that's the same thing as black and white. It's more of them out there. So why do the media focus on black crime like it's astronomically through the roof when we're only 13% of the population, but yet white on white crime is more of them, and so it has to be more of their crime, but yet
one thing I want to say that the media sensationalizes black on black anything. You know, that's almost like the go-to, you know what I mean, for especially on the far right movement. You know, their first thing they want to say, they want to pull out of Chicago. Oh, you guys got Chicago. You haven't solved that problem over there. But like I said, they don't look at it in the larger spectrum of it is, okay, if that's the case, if you're worried about Chicago, then what about New York? What about LA? What about the places where white crime is overshadowed? It overshadows black crime. They don't put that out there. They just want to say that black crime eclipses everybody.
Yeah, I have to apologize. I got taken away, but I know that's something we had discussed earlier. So, Mr. Lee, go ahead and we give you time to rebut all of that.
Well, I think that's the problem because actually you say it's only 13% of the population, but statistics show that black people actually commit 50% of the crimes. That's why.
How is that? Huh? So that the white people that the black people are causing all this ruckus and the white people are good law-abiding citizens?
No, well actually, no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that black people actually commit over 50% of the crime that happen in the United States.
Okay, so the 13% of the people that's black, more than half of them is criminals. That's what you're saying. Because it ain't but 13%. So if you're saying they commit 50%, that just don't add up to me. So I need you to explain that. Well, I mean, think about it. 13%. If we commit 50% of the whole crime out of the whole population, it have to be really 90% of us as criminals.
No, not necessarily. I mean, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Or at least 50%. I mean, at least 50%. That means that 1 out of every 2 of us is a murderer.
It's a criminal. It has to be, because you can't put that 13% unless the non-white people are creating no crime, because we're only 13%. So if we 50% of the crime rate in total, and we're only 13% of a population, really 100% of us will have to go commit all of that crime.
No, I mean,
is the majority of people you know that's of color, are they criminals?
not the majority of them. But
I mean, the people that you know, do you know a lot of criminals? I don't know anybody. Well, I shouldn't say anybody. I do know it may be a fraction, like a 1/8 of the people I know that's a criminal. Other than that, I haven't never spent time in jail. I haven't never been guilty of nothing. The people I know, I mean, I don't know them as being criminal, but when you say that, that just does not add up. And you have to come back with, I know. And this is not a scholarly reference, but when I go on the FBI most wanted list, I see one or two black people. And if we're 50 or over 50% of the crime, why is there so many white people?
well,
On the most wanted list, maybe somebody could pull. Maybe I could pull that up, because like I said, I don't understand. I
actually have it. Give me a second. I'll pull it up. But one thing I want to say, that's why I said that I think that on the far right, they sensationalize when you're talking about black on black, or black doing this and blacks being the most, I'll be honest with you, it seems like we're the most overrepresented when it comes to committing crimes. You know what I mean? It's almost like they're justifying why we are so many of us in jail, why we have so much of our population in jail and not, being in college, and not being black business owners and stuff like that. Because that's the only way you can justify what you're saying.
I wouldn't say jail is a good reference on how many people commit crime, because the fact of that, we all know, and I guess Mr. Lee will could testify on this. There are so many people that have been accused of crime, being black, that really did not commit that crime. We all know back in the late 60s, and I will have to produce that evidence myself, and maybe if we do a part 2 of this, we can, that they needed slave labor. So many judges was really putting black men in jail because they needed slave labor. So you can't add a conviction. You can't really add a conviction to the true rate of crime. But even if you do, it still doesn't add up how, like I said, if black people do the majority of the crime, how on the FBI most wanted list, we see maybe 2 or 3 black speckled in there with a whole list of non-white people. And also, like I said, this is not a source, but I watch the ID channel on Sundays, and all them killer couples and all of that stuff, but they real stories. And I may see 2 black stories out of the whole Sunday that I'm watching. That's all I'm saying. Okay, Russell, do you have that website?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is this we watching? This is the most wanted people on the most wanted list?
Yeah, this is the most wanted list.
Is this FBI.gov?
Yes.
Okay.
If you look at the top, it does say FBI.gov. 10 most wanted. And if you look down, you see mostly Caucasian.
What kind of crimes do they want it for?
I'd have to pull up there. You have to pull up there, I have to click on them, and then you can see exactly what crime.
FBI most wanted, most likely they murders, because to be FBI most wanted, they murders. So look at how many faces do you see that's Black. So sometimes you have to ask yourself, is the sensationalism of America portray Black people as, you see on the news, Black people committing crimes. I'm going to take this off. You see on the news, because I know you could scroll, and all you see is non-white faces. But, okay, you see, on the news, all you see is Black people getting arrested. The negative stuff of I say non people of color, because also we talking about African American issues right now, but believe me, people from other countries, I went out there during the protest, and I was talking to different people, giving interviews of why they protested. I mean, it was white, Asian, people from everywhere. This guy from Bosnia, he told me, he says, we're out here protesting because we discriminate against too. I said, well, at least, you're not Black. So he says, yeah, I'm not Black, because he was real fair skinned, real fair skinned. He says, I'm not Black, but he says, I have police come up to me and, ask for my license or registration real nice. As soon as they see that last name, say Gonzalez or Rodriguez or whatever, he said, next thing you know, I'm getting pulled out the car like everybody else. So, it's just that, like I say, society put that in your head that, okay, it's so much Black on Black crime, but you have to reason for yourself. How can we be 13% of the population, yet on the FBI most wanted list, or if you on a most wanted list, believe me, you done killed somebody. They don't put you on the most wanted list for stealing food stamps or stealing out a 5 and 10 cent store. You have to kill somebody. So, just think about it. Why is we're more sensationalized with murder, but yet if you look at the facts, it's more them. But if they put it in your head, what does that do? That makes you think less of yourself, which we all know, and that's another subject for another day, going back to slavery, how when you start that way of thinking, you won't think that you able to do what the non-white person could do.
And I'd like to take it a step further. Even when it comes to, let's look at Obama and Trump. I think that Obama was a fair president, and during his presidency, during that 8 years, he had his fair share of, what do we say, big news, news cycles. He wore a tan suit, or he might have, misspoke and said something. Where Trump, they make excuses for Trump. Trump can lie till the cows come home. He can lie about everything. He'll just say, I misspoke. And in fact, he can disrespect everybody. He disrespects people. He talks about women. He's misogynistic. There's nothing he won't say or do for attention. Yet, when you look at Obama, most people look at Obama, or from the far right, as a negative president, a person that was like he did something wrong, like he was the worst president ever. They're not looking at, yes, he was the president that got us out of a recession and kept us on the positive track. Even though he ran up the deficit, he had to run up the deficit in order to bring the economy back on par. And that same economy, it was doing well when Trump got it, but Trump was like, oh, no, the Obama years, they were just horrible. They were terrible. Everything he did was messed up. But yet still, everything Trump does is kind of crazy. And nobody's willing to speak bad on him.
Well, we're getting a little bit off subject. Mr. Lee, do you have something to rebut on that? And we'll call it because we went on black crime, and then we got on Trump. And I do want to say, in your fairness, you said that you don't agree with everything Trump says. So the things that Mr. Langham said, do you want to say what you don't agree with, or do you have anything to say, or you want to leave it like that? We could skip that and go to the next question.
Well, I think that I was thinking about what you said about the black on black crime. I think a lot of times they do a lot of low level stuff. So I mean, a lot of stuff is on the website. I mean, just like where you live, who you see committing the crimes? Just
where I live?
Yeah, where you live. Who commit the crimes?
Well, where I live, personally, to be honest with you, we have so many police over here. I don't see anybody committing the crime. I see homelessness, and yes, they are African American. But I really don't see physically anybody committing the crime, because I live in an area that I must admit is we got 5 police departments that patrol this area, because police happen to patrol where the money is.
Okay.
And so that's not really a fair question. But see, that goes into another subject. Just because, okay, you could see, okay, I hate to interrupt because I know I'm the moderator, but okay, an example of, have you heard about the man that was about to get lynched, that he was on TMZ today?
No.
Okay. Well, okay, so so that's not a fair thing, because you haven't heard about it. I just heard about it today myself, and I'm gonna do a broadcast on that. But I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's clearly on site. Someone has videotaped 5 white guys getting the 2 black guys hemmed up, and there's one guy in particular, and I don't know if it was because he's black. I don't know if he was gay. I don't know why they pointed him out. I'll just say that. But they took him, put him to a tree, and one of them said, let's get the news. They beat the heck out of him. And this is all on camera. But yet it's a situation that's about to come out, because he's putting it out to the media, because he's upset because he has it on camera, their faces. They know who these people are, but yet the FBI said they're investigating. But if you're a person of color, you would have been picked up that day. He wasn't. So, I mean, I don't know. So, like I say, the media sensationalized everything. If you black, I agree. It's a known fact. You're going to be arrested, and they're going to show it. If you white, they'll take a couple of days. They'll take you by Burger King on the way to the jail and everything else. So, I mean, that
actually happened. That was true. They actually the guy that in the church in South Carolina. They actually took him to Burger King after they arrested him. They took him to Burger King to get something to eat before they took him to jail.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's not fair by saying who you see getting arrested, because that's part of the racism we're talking about. So we're gonna leave that right there. Like I said, we got to do a part 2, because this gets so interesting. Okay, the next question is, I'm gonna leave that to last. But the next question is, okay, we have groups like Black Lives Matter now. And we have another group that I discovered. I don't know if you all are familiar with this group called NFAC, which is called Not Fucking Around Coalition. Have y'all heard that?
I never heard of that before.
They went to Stone Mountain.
It's the armed military group. It's the armed military group that actually marched on KKK's headquarters, Stone Mountain.
So you heard about it? Okay,
armed and they marched down Stone Mountain.
Okay, and then they have Antifa. Now these are all different groups. My understanding, because I'm challenging also the NFAC. I challenged them on their website. I want to interview them, because I want to get the full understanding of what they're about too. Because I know Black Lives Matter. There is changing the laws and police. You know, the way police handle black people and the disregard of society, how when black people are manhandled and killed, it's like everybody just dismiss it and go on their way, and like it's like a dog in the middle of the road. And I wouldn't even say a dog in the middle of the road, because we all know that if you do something to a dog, you definitely gonna be under the jail. But still, you know, the society don't value black lives. Black lives. We all know that all lives do matter, and I'm one for, if you're a child of God, your life matters whether you a four-legged creature or a two-legged creature. That's just how I feel. But Black Lives Matter is about the fact that all lives may matter, but the only one we seeing left on the ground like roadkill is the black man. So we know what they stand for. They want to change the laws. They for valuing black lives. Now we have this other sector, the NFAC. I really don't know what they standing for. That's why I really want to talk to them. I don't know what their agenda. I know they supposed to march on Stone Mountain because they want to get rid of the mural on Stone Mountain. So maybe that's their whole agenda. I don't know. Then they have Antifa, that their thing is they against the racism. They against people, against gays. They against all injustices in a nutshell. But also they believe in violence against the system. So they are the one that's supposed to be throwing the fire, smoke bombs, throwing the bricks and all of that. And then we have the KKK, who've been around for years, that they don't like Jews, they don't like gay people, they don't like foreigners. If you're not blue eyes and blonde, they just don't like you. They the superior race. Okay, so with that being said, all those factors, do you think there is a need for a Black Lives Matter movement? Or what do you think that can be done to solve and ease racial tensions in America? Do y'all need me to repeat that again?
No, I heard that.
Okay. Who started the last one?
Well,
I don't know. Whoever want to take it.
Well, first of all, I think Black Lives Matter. I think if you look at 2019, it was only 9 unarmed black people that got killed, and it actually was more white people that got killed last year by police officers. And actually during Black Lives Matter, I see almost 20 people that got killed as a result of their marches. So Black Lives Matter so much. Why? I mean, so it's 3 or 4 people got killed this year. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, maybe 3 got killed this year.
Those are the ones that made it to the news.
Huh?
Those are the ones that made it to the news.
Okay, but let him finish, because what I don't understand, he said more white people got killed by police, but if more black people are doing the crime, how did them white people get killed? Did the police just shoot them down in the street?
Well, unarmed black people, more white people got unarmed white people got killed last year than black people.
So the police just shot them up?
Well, just because they was unarmed, that don't mean they was dangerous. Sometimes they could have been charging towards the police. They could have been grabbing for a gun. I mean, same thing like the situation happened in Atlanta with the taser. I mean, that's one thing I don't agree with, because a taser, when the guy pull out the taser, a taser is actually considered a lethal weapon. So I think that shooting was actually justified, I believe, because
you do know, were you in law enforcement?
No, I wasn't in law enforcement.
Well, I was, and it's considered a non-lethal reaction. So,
okay.
In other words, if you wanted to subdue a person without, trying to take them down, without doing all the other stuff, beating them down half to death, it's actually a non-lethal way of doing it.
Let me interrupt a minute, because Mr. got to finish his statement, and I would say each state is different, because in Georgia they do consider a taser a lethal weapon. So I just want to make that point. In Georgia they do. That's the controversy we face in here. Okay, Mr. Lee, go ahead and finish.
And what I'm saying is, actually, it was during Black Lives Matter, as a result of Black Lives Matter protests. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like maybe 14 to 15 people actually got killed during their marches, but you don't hear about none of these people on the news. All these was black people. I mean, some of them with kids. like actually it was a kid in Atlanta got killed, 6, 8 years old, and these was actually people that got shot during the marches. I mean, during the protests. So
but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the movement. The people that got shot. Do you know for a fact that he was part of Black Lives Matter, or was he just a guy hanging in the street that's shooting? Because they haven't even arrested him yet. So,
no, the point that I was trying to make is because of that protest, these people got shot. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But I know.
Yeah, that's a separate incident because wasn't nobody protesting. I'm here in Atlanta, and I hear the news, and it was a sad situation. Nobody was protesting the fact that they was across the street from where Raynard Brooks got shot. You know, there was a barricade, and the place have been ruled by people with guns, African Americans with guns. And it's no crime with African Americans with guns, just like white people have guns. But the thing is, somebody started shooting at the car. Now, why somebody started shooting and who shot them? We can't blame that on Black Lives Matter. We can't blame that on KKK. We can't blame that on nobody because we don't know until they catch them and it's been investigated why the guy could have been just a plain thug that shot him. We don't know. So we're going to leave that kind of out. We're talking strictly, is there a need for a Black Lives Matter movement? And what I heard you say is that you feel like it's not because you said more white people has got killed.
Let me finish my statement. What I feel like Black Lives Matter, I think they actually, if Black Lives Matter, all Black lives should matter. If Black lives should matter, if they matter, all Black lives should matter, not just when a Black person gets shot.
I agree.
So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, but can you elaborate? I believe all Black lives should matter too, but what make you think they don't all matter?
Because like these kids that got shot, they don't say nothing about that on the news. I mean, like George Floyd, they raised millions and millions of dollars for him. I mean, and Rayshard Brooks, but these kids, they didn't even raise enough money to pay for their funerals. They don't even say nothing about these kids.
Well, it's a It's a $10,000 reward for the shooter that shot this little girl, and Tyler Perry stepped up to pay for the funeral. So and they may have a GoFundMe out. I have no idea. So I mean, it is something that's being done for the little girl.
Yeah, but what about
nobody in the Black community would slight or say anything that says that little girl needed to be shot. So I have to disagree with you there about her life didn't matter because her life, I didn't know the little girl, and I'm up here in Atlanta and everybody is looking for whoever did this. They have a picture of them, but and the reason why he did it, I mean, who knows why people kill people. I don't know, but we can't put that on her life didn't matter because I know 100% of the Blacks out here that I know, we care about that little girl and we want whoever killed her brought to justice. So I mean, I think that's not a thing to say her life didn't matter.
Well, what about CNN didn't give this story as much credit as Black Lives Matter protests and stuff did. I mean, and what I'm
two different subjects. Like I said, we don't know if this was tied into Black Lives Matter. I mean, they did say that the little girl was killed across the street from Wendy's, but people are killed every day, no matter if it's black or white or yellow, and it may not never make the news. I mean, unless they right now in the news is very prevalent Black Lives Matter and these Black people that got killed and nobody went to jail for. I mean, they are the ones that everybody focusing on. So I mean, I'm quite sure right now it's somebody white maybe getting shot in California right now. Somebody Black may be getting killed in Florida right now, but it's not going to make the news because you can't let everything make the news. I mean, right now, unless they got killed at a Black Lives Matter rally, I don't think they're going to make the news. That's just it.
Even if it's at a rally, they ain't going to show it on the news. I mean, because they don't care. They don't care about that.
Well, let me ask a question then.
Okay.
You said
Okay.
that, CNN didn't show it. Did Fox show it?
Yeah, Fox showed it. They showed it on Fox.
And so how did Fox get their information to identify or to relate between this little girl and Black Lives Matter?
Well, because it happened at Wendy's. They burned down the Wendy's. I mean, all that was because of that shooting. Huh?
It was across the street from Wendy's. It wasn't at Wendy's. It was across the street from Wendy's.
Well, wasn't Wendy's barricaded or something? Wasn't Wendy's barricaded?
Yeah, across the street from Wendy's, they got a whole barricade trying to stop people from entering, but it wasn't in the Wendy's parking lot. Let's make that clear. It was across the street from Wendy's, and the car was turning around across the street, but it was barricaded. Yes, it was. But Black Lives Matter didn't barricade it. So, I mean, you know, they haven't said they barricaded it. So I don't even know how Black Lives Matter got into the Wendy's subject. I mean, of course, they didn't march for Rayshard Brooks, but they didn't barricade and write all that stuff on Wendy's. So I don't even know why they are, you know.
Well, that's one of the things that Fox News does. Fox News lump them into that. You know, they tried to rope them all into Black Lives Matter, and then that's what they put in there on their network. When in reality, like she said, that just didn't have anything to do with any type of Black Lives Matter protests or anything else. It was just an unfortunate incident.
So
yeah, Black Lives Matter.
Random shooting. You saying it's just a random shooting?
Yeah.
As far as we know, unless you have evidence different, because Black Lives Matter didn't claim that they taking over the Wendy's. Now there is a sect. In fact, just up to last week, and I can't tell you how I know this, but just up to last week, there was black men that was armed that wouldn't even let white people cross that whole street. That's where the barricade come from. And even the police wasn't going up there. And so what happened was finally they got together, the police, to open up that street so everybody, because the black man, and I don't know who these black men is, they didn't say they was Black Lives Matter, they didn't say they was the NFAC, so I don't know if they just people from the hood, but they said they're going to police their own area. They don't want police coming up here and killing us. So that's what they said. So they took over the neighborhood over there. So like I said, you know, and police been going on strike, so they didn't mess with them. In fact, I seen on the news today, which is kind of sad, where I'm going to call him crazy because I just don't think he's in his right mind. This person, it was a non-colored person, but he said he was from Russia. I don't know if he was from Russia or not. And please look this up when you get offline. He went up to the Wendy's where he know that these black guys is standing there trying to guard this Wendy's for some reason. I don't know if it's a shrine to them. Like I said, I'm not going to profess that I know why they trying to guard these Wendy's. But he went up to them, and it was this preacher on the corner that was, I guess he was protesting. He said it was only about 4 people protesting. And this guy started telling them he's going to shoot them. He's from Russia and he's going to kill them. And he challenged one of the preachers to walk towards him. And one of the other guys went and got this cop who was sitting across the street monitoring the situation. Now, he said that the cop was sitting there looking at everything and wasn't doing nothing. And I could believe that, because part of the sentiment with the police these days, which I think is wrong, but if you don't need us, then we ain't gonna protect you, you know? And so they were sitting up there, and not until it was a lady that came up and verbally went to the police car telling them that, look, this guy is threatening to kill him. And the guy had his gun in his holster and everything else. His wife was sitting in the car. So eventually the police, the lady called 911, but the guy who was sitting in the police car, he did come over there and start questioning the guy, and the guy wasn't even cooperating with him. So he wound up getting arrested, but he wasn't cooperating with him, but he did get arrested. And on his mugshot, you know, he kind of looking all crazy and stuff, and he still claimed he from Russia. I don't know if that's true, but the pastor said that while he was getting arrested, that he held up his hand and saying Black Lives Matter sarcastically, like he just making a joke of it. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. So I mean, that's the facts of the case. Like I say, Black Lives Matter never claimed that they over there protested. They never claimed anything. So you can't just lump that into Black Lives Matter. And I think that's where a lot of people make a mistake at, because they just assume. I was one of those out there while the protest first began, and I could swear it was a peaceful protest. Then when nighttime came, it was people, and I don't know if they was Antifa, that's what they calling themselves, but they came, they was white, black, you know, they was different colors with the masks and all of that, and they were throwing bricks and creating havoc. Now, who they were for sure, I do not know, but I do know the Black Lives Matters people was peaceful when they was out there. I don't know who them other people was, and we can't account when people get thrown in and lumped in a situation. That's all I'm saying. But overall, it's fair to say that you said we don't need a Black Lives Matter movement, right?
Well, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, I think the energy is misguided.
Okay. So how do you think we could, if we don't have these kind of movements, how do you think before Black Lives Matter came along, do you think everybody's just getting along and Black lives count and we don't have any problem? I mean, everything is just, we all black, white, yellow, everybody's just getting along and everybody's Humpty-Dory?
No, I'm not saying people getting along, but I mean, people not getting along. I mean, but I mean, it's not bad as it was in the 50s and the 60s. I mean, but people not getting along, no. They're not getting along. But it's a whole lot better than it was 30 or 40 years ago.
Okay, did you just hear about this CEO that this Asian couple it's a mixed race marriage between a white man and an Asian couple, and he has his kids, which I guess you would consider them Asian. They were sitting down eating peacefully at this restaurant, and this white CEO of a company just started saying, Trump gonna fuck you up, and you Asian piece of shit. You came over here spreading your diseases, and you shouldn't be eating at this restaurant. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Okay, well look that up, because that is in the news. I haven't heard he got fired. He's the CEO, but yeah, that's current in the news. So look that up, because maybe it's your experience that everything is going fine, but there's plenty of people that, I mean, you got Philandro, what's his name? Philandro, what's his name? Help me out. Philandro, okay, I'll fact check her. But you know who the guy who they told to put the hands on the wheel, and he did, and he still got shot?
You talking about?
Y'all don't know who that is?
The one that said he had a...
Okay, because Philandro could...
The one that Philandro Castile, he was on the passenger side and said he had a weapon, and they still shot him.
Well, I thought he was driving, but yeah, they still shot him, and things like that happening. So, okay, it may haven't happened to you yet, but overall, when you hear about things like that, you just, I mean, and the Breonna Taylor, that kind of stuff, and the George Floyd, you just think that's better than the 60s?
No, what I'm saying is, like, George Floyd, he shouldn't have got killed. I mean, there's no reason why he should have got killed. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times, most of these times, people, they're involved with criminal activity. I mean, George Floyd been to prison like 4 or 5 times. One time he went to prison for home invasion. He held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach, was going to kill her. And what I'm saying is, if you be involved in criminal activity, I mean, you're going to have a higher rate of dealing with police. I mean, a lot of times, if you don't put yourself in that predicament, I mean, because I don't have no encounters with the police. I mean, the last 10, 15 years, I haven't had any encounters with the police. So if you don't do no criminal activity, you wouldn't run into the police.
So it's oh, that's Philando. One of my people said Philando Castile. Thank you for that. Okay, so what you're saying is that if you didn't if you didn't commit a crime, even though the way the justice system is supposed to be, if you commit that crime and you serve that time, you're supposed to be exonerated. So what you're saying that even if you commit a crime, because when that police caught George Floyd, I don't believe he said anything about, I know you committed a crime. And in law enforcement, that really is irrelevant because the police is there to enforce the law, not to make the law, and they don't do anything else. So and so when that arrest went down, it shouldn't be no, even if he committed a crime the day before, they only supposed to arrest you for the crime that they are there for. They are not the judge and the jury. The police is there just to enforce what you call them to enforce, the law. Correct. So when they got called to that store, and I must admit, one time my father-in-law, you know how people send you money for a death? My father-in-law died. Somebody, because I collected all the money, somebody gave me a counterfeit bill, and I happened to take it to the bank, and the bank didn't call the police on me, you know. But I would hate to see if they did call the police on me, and I had no idea it was a counterfeit bill, and I heard the bill wasn't counterfeit, but okay, that's irrelevant. Okay, if the bill was counterfeit, I mean, if you're a lay person, anybody can give you a counterfeit bill. You can get it from anywhere. So if the police call me, the first thing they're gonna do for a $20 bill is jack me up and step on my neck and do all this stuff just because I had a counterfeit bill. Because like I said, the police is not supposed to look at your record way down the line that you done went to jail for and they got exonerated for. They looking at the crime that they call for. So how do you justify that it's his fault that he got killed just because he had a crime? I mean,
I didn't say it was his fault. I said if you don't encounter with the police, you wouldn't come into them situations.
He didn't call the police, so it wasn't his fault that the police was there. If I see you out, if I'm a lady that I see you lurking around my neighborhood. Because like I said, I do live in a predominantly white neighborhood. If I see you and I call the police and said, just like Ahmaud Arbery, if I say there's a man, a black man, and he looking very suspicious, in fact, I seen him in my window, and you could have been looking at the window because you could have been just looking to see how this place look. But if I see somebody's
house. Ahmaud Arbery was in their house.
No, he wasn't in no house. No, he wasn't. That house was getting built. It was a neighborhood that was getting built. Then nobody lived there.
It was getting renovated. It was getting renovated. It was somebody's house, and they got him on camera. Go in the house.
The man that owned the place was getting built. It was getting renovated, and the place was getting built. And the man even said that owned the house. People stop by there all the time because it's an open place, and you could just walk up there. It's no fence up there. It's nothing up there. You could just walk in there and see how. I mean, when I was looking for my home, I went in places that was half built just to see how the layout was and everything. Long story short, I mean, is that his American right? I mean, was it a no trespassing sign? Was it something that said, do not come on this property? I mean, you could walk anywhere you want to walk. It's not living there.
You can't walk in somebody's property. You can't walk in somebody's house.
Yeah, but there wasn't no trespassing sign up. There was not posted any trespassing sign up.
You don't have to put a trespassing sign. If you got a house that you're renovating, you got to put no trespassing in it. That you're renovating.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you do.
A house that you own, you got to put a no trespassing thing in it.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. Why do you think they had no trespassing signs? If it's understood.
Well, yeah, you do have to put that up.
I know I ain't supposed to go in nobody's house. I know something that don't belong to me. I'm supposed to be in there. It
was an open house. It didn't have.
All right. So I got a question for you. So hold on, I got a question. So you've seen the latest videos of all the Karens that are calling the police on black men for just, I don't know, breathing. So
Yeah,
just like what you just said, huh?
I'm not saying that. I'm talking about this situation. I haven't seen that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you're saying that you haven't, you know, been in contact, or you haven't did anything wrong last 10, 15 years or whatever. You have not made contact with law enforcement. There has been no reason for you to make any contact with law enforcement because you hadn't done anything wrong.
Correct.
But what happens when you run into a situation where you're like the girl with the guy that's bird watching, and he tells the girl to put on a mask and you know, put a leash on the dog, and she called the police on him talking about, he's here to kill me, he's trying to kill me. Now he ain't did nothing wrong, and if the police would have reacted crazy, he might be dead.
Okay.
What would you say then?
He said he's not familiar with that case. But let me go back to Ahmaud Arbery.
I'll see the video.
Okay, let me go back to Ahmaud Arbery, because okay, I don't know. You know, I don't know how often you see the news, but you going by something that either you heard from somebody. Okay, let's go back to Ahmaud Arbery. And like I said, that is not strange. When I was looking for houses, they have in the paper, when people are building houses, it could even be somebody's house. They will say, it's an open house this Sunday. Go look at it. I mean, that happens all the time. Even the man who owned the house, he even said people stop by it all the time. He don't have no problem with it. You don't know if this guy is looking to build his own house or whatever. Okay, but let's just take all of that. Let's just take all of that out. Okay, the guy who chased them down, and it was 3 of them. It was really I call it a midday lynching, but that's just my take on it. Okay, you see this guy jogging. Even if you thought he wasn't, now he was an ex sheriff or ex criminal person, but even if you thought this guy had did something wrong, he's running down the street. You can see his hands. No toaster, no flashlight, no cigarette lighter. You don't see nothing. Okay, why wouldn't you call the real police and say, I think y'all need to check this guy out? In fact, one of the guys that followed him lived down the street from his mother's house. Now, whether they knew each other, I can't say. But why couldn't you just call? Why are you coming with a big old rifle saying stop right here, and when the man don't know who the world these 3 white people are and why they want to stop me, I mean, and he gives some a resistance, which I would too, you're gonna shoot him. I mean, how do you justify that? I just don't understand.
I'm not justifying that.
An unarmed man that you see plain as day, his hands, I mean, everybody's seen the video, his hands going, nothing in his hands. Okay, so what's the purpose of you holding him at gunpoint and shoot him?
I mean, I'm not justifying what they did. I'm just saying the man shouldn't have been in that house. I'm not justifying what they did.
Okay, see, that's the problem I have. People are always the victim. They always talking about what the victim didn't do. So you don't have nothing to say of the man shouldn't have been chasing them down and shooting them with a gun, even though he was unarmed. But all you could think about is the man shouldn't have been in that house.
Well, what I'm saying is, I wouldn't put myself in a position where somebody would question whether I done burglarized something from that house. I wouldn't put myself in that position. So he put himself in a position. He went to somebody's house.
Okay, you own a company. Say it's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark outside, and I'm patrolling the area of where your office at. Okay. And I see you going in, and I'm a police person, and because you black, I done heard that some robberies been happening. So I stop you, and before you try to say this is your office, and I'm telling you, pull out your ID, and I still don't believe you and stuff, and I jack you all up. Okay, should I say that you should have been trying to go in your office?
Well, I mean, I've had times when my alarm went off. I mean, and people, they come and they be like, we don't know you, let me see your ID. I mean, but they don't put me on the ground.
Okay, so if you run into one that do put you on the ground, what you gonna say then? I mean, should we just say, okay, Mr. Lee was on the ground, but he shouldn't have had his alarm on?
I mean, sometimes police gotta do what they gotta do. I mean, they gotta do what they gotta do. I mean,
I knew it was coming.
They gotta put you down. They put you down. I mean,
okay. Let me read some of these. Comments. And really, like I said, we're gonna have to do a part 2 if y'all up for it. I really did enjoy the conversation, and like I said, I think we need to do a little bit more talking because it's just understanding where each other coming from. I'm not gonna say I agree with you, but I do like to hear your train of thought of how you process stuff, because I have white neighbors and you know, they want to talk to me about racism and what's going on. And you know, they ask me, they say, well, do you think it's racism? I say, yeah, it's racism. You know, and you know, I'm telling you, yeah, there's racism. I have experience. And I have even white people tell me, well, if he just didn't run away, if he just didn't do, okay, well, why when white people get arrested, they make it to the police station and they run away? I got a good video I'll show you next time where this white guy, he jumped in a police car, tried to run the police over, and he fought the police and did everything else. Oh, and I'm gonna go. It's just so much to tell you. I swear. I feel like I have to say woosah when I get in these moods. But anyway, he did all of that, but yet the police took him without beating him up to the police station. Okay, now let me get to this last point, and then I'll read some of the comments, and we're gonna end it. And like I say, if you want to come back, if Mr. Langham, you up for coming back, and Mr. Lee, you up to come back, I'll be more than glad to have you because I have enjoyed this conversation. Okay, the Rayshard Brooks case. As you know, his girlfriend, yeah, he had a wife and a girlfriend. You know, I mean, that's his own business. But his girlfriend was found to set the Wendy's on fire. The reason she said that she was pissed off that night because, and we seen this on the TV, so this is not a lie. She got arrested about 2 months earlier for DUI. No, she didn't get arrested, but the police, they called the police on her for DUI. And at that time, it's in a police record that she was cursing out the police, throwing rocks at them, resisting arrest and all of that. But yet they gave her a ride home. She's a white lady. Did you know that? She's a white lady. They drove her home. Now, Rayshard Brooks, if you looked at the video, he was just as humble as we teach our young boys, you know, to try to make it home that night. We teach them, you know, try to cooperate, just look at his badge, you know, try to just make it home. Okay, he said, officer. Now, he was on probation, but he said, officer.
No, he wasn't on probation. What, you know, he was home from jail because he was home from jail from beating his wife.
Probation. That's probation.
They let him out because of coronavirus.
Well, still, he was on probation. I'm just saying he was on probation. Okay, so he was on probation. I'm putting it out there. He was on probation. Okay. Whether it was because of coronavirus or, you know, you're talking about how many people Trump let out of jail for crack cocaine. If you're a Christian, one sin is just as big as the other sin, right? So it doesn't matter if it's or whatever he did. So, but he got out of jail. He didn't murder anybody because if he murdered anybody, he wouldn't have got let out. Okay, so let's go back to he was on probation. Okay, they had took his license and everything. They knew he was. They knew where his car was. Okay, he said, "I'll walk home." Now, to me, good policing would have been, okay, you know, people make mistakes. I don't know if you walk on water, but I sure don't. Everybody could make a mistake. Walk on water. Okay, everybody can make a mistake. He said his child's birthday was the day before. He could have been celebrating. He was out. I'm not going to justify why he was drunk. but everybody could make a mistake. Okay, he says, well, I'll walk home. Okay, he haven't hurt nobody to this point. So either one, you could let him walk home, or two, you could say, call an Uber and we'll come get you. Or three, you could say, well, I'll take you home. They took the white girl home that was throwing rocks at him and fighting at him and cursing at him, and it was all on tape. They took the white girl home, but when it came to him, no, they're going to arrest him. So, okay, yeah, he didn't want to get arrested because he had just got out of jail. So he didn't want to get arrested. Okay, even though you running and you can see the distance, that taser wouldn't have caught that cop. But okay, even though he running and he pointing like this, he ain't even pointing at nobody because he's running at the same time. Number one, they already took his license. They knew who he was. They could have been waiting at his house to arrest him if they really wanted to arrest him. By the time he got there, you got his car there, so you're going to get the guy. But no, they was pissed off. And they just shot him in the back. They didn't even wait till he turned around. He was not a threat. In Georgia, if you if it's threatening your life, you're supposed to get shot, or you could get shot if it's threatening your life. How is it threatening your life when you like this and the people way behind you, you ain't even looking to see where the razor, you just trying to get away. Okay, but yet the white lady didn't even have to go through all that. She threw rocks at them. She cursed them out. Yet they gave her a ride home. So what you got to say about that is because he shouldn't have been on probation? What is that?
Well, I think the cop, they was in fear of their life.
Because he was running?
He was because he was pointing a taser at him. He thought it was
going to he pointed from behind. So you ain't even aiming. And the distance that they was, now, according to Paul Howard, they was at least 18 feet. So the taser wouldn't have caught you anyway. So and it was two cops. Even if the cops get tased, and I'm telling you, I know this for a fact. In training, they get tased all the time to know what it feels like. So even if you got tased, we know it may be considered a deadly weapon in Georgia, but you're not going to die. You got the other cop down there that's still going to arrest them whenever they catch up with them. So is it necessary just to kill them? But yet this girl threw a rock at the cops, which they could get hit in the head and get a concussion and fall out and they could die. But that's not deadly force. They gave her a ride home.
Well, I guess I think about it as far as the cops, they wanted to go home to their family that night. And so they don't know. After they took their taser, I don't know if they was thinking they was going to take their gun. I think they thought their life was in danger. So that's why they shot him.
And Rashad Brooks didn't think his life was in danger if he ain't got, because he have experience. You don't know what happens in those jails. You don't know what he went through. And we already know the black population. I have not even been to jail. And I'm scared as hell if a cop catch me. I don't know about you, but I be shaking and everything trying to show them what I got. Here's my registration here, hoping that I could get out of it. So I'm saying nobody else. And that's what we talking about, Black Lives Matter. You talking about he want to go home to his family. What make you think that little girl didn't want to see her father for her birthday that next day?
Well, if he didn't resist, that wouldn't have happened.
I just have something to say about this. It just seems like in all times that you can have a white mass murderer. Every time that you have a white mass murderer, he can have 15 guns on him, knives coming out the yin yang. He gets arrested and he gets peacefully taken into custody. Whereas a black person, you ain't got to have so much of nothing as a threat and you get shot. And that's a constant pattern that we're seeing.
He said he don't agree with that.
With the protest, huh?
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with it?
No, I think if people was having knives and stuff, I don't think they would have been around. I think they would have probably been shot too.
No. So look at the far right when they have the protests and when they have their Second Amendment protests. And when they're gunned down, they have all these guns and all the ammo dripping off of them. You ever see any of them get arrested?
Well, just like the people that she talked about at Stone Mountain.
Sam, yes or no? Did you ever see any of them get arrested? Do you ever see any of them get tased? Do any of them get anything? Because they be sitting there cursing the officers out. They be yelling at them. They be doing all kinds of stuff. Yet, when you see a Black Lives Matter protest coming up there with nothing, he gets shot in the face with rubber bullets.
Well, in fact, the president labeled Black Lives Matter as a militant organization, but yet he said the KKK in Charlottesville was good people of America.
Fact.
So did you hear that, Mr. Lee, or is that something you don't know of either?
Well, I don't know if that was the exact words he used.
It was. The exact words. Those were the exact words verbatim.
Well, we'll say it again. What was the exact words?
He said that the people of Charlottesville that was protesting the KKK was good people of America, but yet Black Lives Matter, he just recently said that they are a militant organization.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's saying that because I don't know. Maybe they have peaceful protests. Maybe I don't know.
And maybe because they shouldn't be Black, right?
So with the Black Lives Matter protests and all of them being, they haven't found guns and they haven't found knives. They haven't found none of that stuff on those protesters. The ones that's getting shot up by the rubber bullets and the tear gas and all that. They haven't found any weapons.
What about the chop zone and all that stuff that happened? It was that they ain't got to do with Black Lives Matter either.
Well, you're talking about one thing up in Seattle. So I know what you're talking about. You're talking about when they took over the police station in Seattle. That's one incident where they took over, but that's an isolated incident.
But was that Black Lives Matter or was that Antifa? Because that's where we getting confused with the lines, because Antifa is mixing in with these protesters, and I told you they stand for no racism against anybody, but the difference is they believe in violence. So you have to know who we talking about and who we're not talking about. Black Lives Matter, as far as I know, they haven't claimed to burn down a police station. So, you can't put that on them if they haven't claimed it. That's all I'm saying. You got different fractions out here, so you have to know who exactly you're talking about.
Well, I think if you join my movement and you doing something that I don't like, I'll kick you out, right?
Okay, well, if you're marching down the street and I just start marching with you, but then later start throwing bricks, I'm not the police. Who are me to throw you out? I'm not the police. I'm peaceful. I'm not gonna get up there and just throw you out and fight you to the ground. I'm a peaceful protester. Ain't that what a peaceful protester does?
Oh, so you saying everything Black Lives Matter do is peaceful?
Well, as far as I've seen, I can't pin nothing on them that they claim that they did. I know that the KKK have lynched people because we have seen it with our own eyes. I haven't seen the Black Lives Matter movement get a white person and beat him to a pulp or go hang him from a tree or burn down a Wendy's. I haven't seen that, and they haven't claimed to say that. Different now. Antifa, they do say. They admit that they believe in violence against violence. So they are claiming it.
So Antifa is not part of Black Lives Matter?
No, they're not. They're not. Look at that. They are not. They're a new movement that came out of young people who said they tired of what's going on. As far as gay being, they don't like discrimination on no parts, but they believe in fighting violence, to get their point across. They ain't ashamed to admit that. So if you go on to Antifa, look up Antifa, what they stand for, they definitely say that.
So why do they always show up at the Black Lives Matter movements then?
Because they're against discrimination, and Black Lives Matter is protesting against some discrimination. But like you say, it's America, and you have rights, so you can show up any way you want to. I could show up at a KKK thing. Who's gonna stop me? It may be a fight, but who's gonna stop me? You could show up wherever you want to show up. But if you're not that person, you just can't put it on that person until, I mean, it's you have been found guilty. Ain't you supposed to be innocent till you found guilty?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. So with that, okay, let me read some of the comments because we have a lot of comments. Okay, going back to Philando Castile, they say he was driving, which I thought he was driving. He was a registered gun owner, and he was telling the cop that he was a registered gun owner when he got killed. But yet the NRA didn't say anything about it, which the NRA is supposed to protect gun people's rights. But like again, when you black, it don't matter. So they didn't say anything about it. Somebody said you should be wearing a mega hat. Okay. But that's for Mr. Lee. Okay. We have another person say, "Oh my God, misinformed." I'm just reading the comments. Okay. We have another person said the people that killed him didn't own the house anyway. What's his point? Okay. Then we have one said he must got his head in the sand. I don't know who's that referred to. But I could guess, but I don't know who that referred to. Okay. How you not hear about national news? Come on now. Okay, that's one. I do not understand. One says, okay, wait a minute. One says, seemed to me he has deep black shame. Act right, do right, and you could have a good life with no problems, like me. And then one says, Antifa is barely an organization. And then another one says, also regarding black statistics, black communications are drastically over policed and white folks are under policed and way undercharged. Okay, so that's it. If anybody, we got 8 more minutes for an hour. Like I say, I would love to do this again. It's been interesting. And I must commend y'all to, I'm the kind too, I voice my opinion. I'm very opinionated, and I don't mind a challenge. I don't know if any of y'all looked at my last week's video, but people call me personally and disagree with me, and I don't mind because everybody have an opinion, and if you've seen it different, I welcome you to challenge me on it. I don't mind to say I'm wrong. So I just thank you both for sharing your opinions, and if you learn something out of this, either side, that's good. If you still stand fast on what you believe in, that's all right. It's just a matter of we get to understand each other. But the bottom line, we're still a community. We still are people of color, whether we, in fact, I heard today, the Native Americans, I think their race has been shitted on more than anybody else because they just came and took their land. But it's something that the Native Americans is bringing up now into the Supreme Court. I don't know if either one of y'all heard it, but they're saying now legally, according to the treaty that they promised them a long time ago when they put them on them reservations, that if they commit a crime, they're not supposed to get policed by the regular state system and local government.
What they brought up issue to the Supreme Court is if they commit a crime on their own land, their people and their tribal law are supposed to be the ones that deal with it, not the structured police, or local government police. So that's what they're bringing to the Supreme Court right now.
Yeah, and I hope they get it because America has made so many people promises, and some people got paid, some people didn't. We didn't, and the Native Americans, I guess they got what was promised to them, but really this was their land. And then when you think about it, our forefathers built this nation, but yet we don't have really hardly no piece of the pie. It's some lucky ones like Oprah Winfrey and stuff that may, get to succeed. That's all and fine, but
I'll tell anybody that we are the only race that we have not got reparations for anything. We are the only race. And
in general, we built this nation. We built who your president sleeping. We built that house. I mean, we built everything because they don't. I mean, I don't want to appear prejudiced myself. I'm not prejudiced, but we built this nation, and it seemed like we should get some kind of piece of the pie. But it's like we don't get anything. So it's a lot of things that got to be worked out, and it's going to be worked out by having conversations like these. But the reason why I think this was important, because within our own community, we have to come together. Whether you still want to be a Republican, or you still want to be a Democrat, or you still want to be an independent, we got stuff, and I think both of y'all will agree, in our own community that we can't. Just because we're Black, we don't have to think alike. We just have to reason and do what we know is right, but we don't have to think alike, and we have to respect each other's opinion. I mean, I may not like Trump, but I respect your opinion. You may be gay, as long as you allow not committing any crimes and not affecting anybody, I could care less. I mean, I think everybody has a right. This is supposed to be a melting pot. It's not supposed to be just a white nation or a Black nation. It's supposed to be a melting pot of individuals. So that's what I would like to see. If it was up to me, we'd be like Star Trek, with all kind of different freaky looking people in a bar drinking drinks. I mean, I just feel like that's the way it's supposed to be. That's what America, when it was built, it wasn't built with us in mind, but that's what it's supposed to be. And it's not fair that there's such disparity among the races. And so anyway, like I said, I thank you all. If y'all have anything to say, I'll let you make your last comment. We could start with Mr. Lee.
Well, I just want to say I enjoyed the conversation. And I think we got a couple more questions. Maybe we'll leave that for the next video.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed it, and like I said, I definitely want to hear your viewpoint and see, if how you think and how do you look at Trump, and also how you process the information that you get, as far as coming from Fox News, and how that works. So, like I said,
okay. So we'll put on a calendar for another session, but like I say, we all gonna leave in love and peace, and just thank you. Have a good week, and we're gonna end our broadcast with that. Thank you all.